is our class president, and he is going to share his essay with you. They were all wonderful and outstanding essays, and we're proud of them and for these discussions that they were able to have. So, Harry?
As 9 deafening cracks that were heard around the world silenced 9 lives, and their blood stained America permanently, the world felt the shock they had created. As 13 people prayed in the Emmanuel AME church, Dylan Roof's gun made a deep, percussive bang. Tawanza Sanders, a future businessman and a bright, loving student, falls victim to a senseless crime while heroically protecting his 87-year-old aunt from a hail of bullets. Another bang. Felicia Sanders survives by playing dead and rubbing her son's blood on her. Yet another bang resounded the church. Mrs. Sanders clutches her 11-year-old granddaughter underneath the table, while her son and aunt's blood stained the polished wooden floor. The cause of this? Not the victim's actions, nor the victim's words, but the pigmentation of their skin. Roof's grotesque motive and the actions that ensued on that fateful day of June 17, 2015, seemed like an episode of America's history that would tear apart America's already slippery and uneasy topic of race relations. Yet through these vulgar and vile crimes, we learn to find peace amongst the world of loss. Ultimately, issues like these must be uncovered to achieve true unity. When this event circulated through the news, and we saw people tweeting and reporters commenting, a narrative started. We learned more about the victims. We saw their photos, their smiles, their hairstyles, and their clothes. We heard from their mothers and fathers, their siblings and friends. We remember them, though we may not have known them, and we hurt for their loss when we thought of our own family. We began to paint a picture of their life and relate them to our own. We picture them as individuals and not just another statistic of just another shooting. This is called compassion, and it weakens the ache of tragedy with justice and love. With faith and raw compassion, we can see through things we once viewed as walls, and we begin to build bridges between our differences. We begin to realize through tragedies that we share the same authentic feelings that don't rely on our skin color, beliefs, or our gender. And through the 4,000 annual hate-motivated crimes found by the FBI, we inch towards a world of compassion and unity. This being said, it shouldn't take the loss of lives to gain unity. Like the two faces of a coin, the shooter's narrative was real. Dylan Roof had reason. I have to do it. You rape our woman and you're taking over our country. Dylan Roof also later reports that he never regretted his actions and he would be freed once a race war had started. When we hear those words, we must realize that we need to actively target this issue. When someone doesn't regret ending 9 people's lives solely because of their race, we must realize that we need to tackle this issue at its core. When someone clearly stated that they wanted to start a war over race, we must realize that there is a prevalent problem in our society that needs to be resolved. And it takes a conscious awareness of this issue in order to fix it. The next step to solve this problem is to acknowledge the severity of these crimes. Former Mayor Joe Riley once said, "The only reason someone would shoot people that were praying is hate." Yet the media is hesitant to identify Roof's actions as a hate crime, some sources putting the phrase in quotations, as if there was any speculation as to why a white man would walk into a historically black church and kill only black people. Often we spend too much time dissecting the killer's motives, trying to piece together a story, yet we forget about the stories of the victims. We must read about them, know them. Our focus should not only be on ensuring that the killer is punished, but that the victims receive justice. And that justice doesn't just look like a conviction. It looks like speaking their names, telling their stories, and committing to stamping out racism that bred a killer like Roof. To do this, we must acknowledge and understand the voices, the unsung voices of the citizens from California to Maine fighting for their rights. This validation and these stories must be repeated for the unbelievers, yet they're going unheard. And the more we ignore this, the less we can secure unity. Although this topic makes people feel uncomfortable, and the harsh reality of discrimination hits people like a brick wall, we must learn to be able to talk about this issue discuss this issue in order to improve race relations. We should turn to handle the topic at its roots, and we should interweave racial topics into our everyday lives and uncover the raw emotion that race brings. These issues should be talked about in classrooms, homes, and publicly, because real talk provides real solutions. Once this topic becomes normalized, standing up for others becomes natural. Only then do we begin to sympathize with victims of hate crimes and understand that we aren't limited to just being colorblind. Only then do we begin to stride to a world of change and unity, and only then will we be able to stop tragedies like the Emmanuel AME's church shooting. Eternally, our thoughts and prayers are with the thousands torn apart by injustices like these, and through them, the greater cause and fight will march on to the tune of unity. Thank you.